Okay, this should be episode 24. Cycle 408 onward. Hopefully we can get to 425, maybe 430. Let's see. Let's get stuck in. I've been thinking maybe I need to add more plastic, but obviously I need to make more plastic. The radiation protection is quite nice. This used to be 300. And about 35, 58, 41. Pretty good upgrade. I'd still need to cut this down. I think. There's nothing point in this? 9. I don't think it'll ever hit 159 in here. Oh. Better hypothermia. Cramp. No. Let's... 2.1 cycles. I'll kick it off. Populations are okay. I do the age 64. We have one about to go. One about to hatch. We'll replace that one, no problem. Oh, nope. Nope. Carbon dioxide geyser is reactivated. Nope. So good. Oops. How did a... Where did the pip come from? Like, literally, where did the pip come from? I am now concerned. But okay. Weird. I assume one of them dropped an egg somewhere. That is my best guess. We'll need to ship over some naphtha at some point. We could probably just ship over the plastic and then process it instead. Probably be better. I don't have the materials to be able to actually poke my way in here yet. $34. 1. 5 almost. Okay, that is improving. Pick up most of this nuclear waste. You know what? Let's hold off on picking it up just yet because I'm still trying to heat this stuff up. We're up to 7.4, so that's good. Only I could get it to shoot that. I would land right next to it. Yeah, it'll still be a little while before we can get the temperatures up. I'm almost tempted just to vent this into space. Like, I am severely tempted to poke a hole right here. That's great. Yeah. Poke a hole there for a moment. Put some plastic underneath this. We'll just vent out the rest of this material. No problem. Eat from... Be good. Mostly just want to eject the CO2 that's in here out. Not screw it, we'll just keep doing that. So keep warming up the area. Good. Six degrees, flaming. old is this now? Leaking out at 14. Not bad. Not bad. Oh, new printables. What do we got? Vectoring +9. Phobic. Quick learner though. An operator with caregiver. Germ resistant iron gut. Josh was not bad, but I don't need another doctor. Hey, Proto. I think we're just gonna take the omelets. Some of them are definitely gonna get eaten. Oops. Leave the omelets. Immediately. What? Good. Good. Ah. 76.6. Slowly but surely, we will get there. How was your day so far, Proto? Hopefully good. Currently staring at a saltwater geyser going, erupt already! Three. Currently trying to let the chlorine and CO2 and any extra hydrogen eject out that way. Yeah, the CO2 at the moment is currently hampering my ability to warm this up. It's a bit rough. At the end of the world, just an annoyance. Devin there, you there. Will be better for them. Come on, bees, pick up the extra uranium, please. I can't clean this up any better than this. Leaving it all exposed for you. CO2 we got left. Quite a bit still. It's only got one line of throughput though, which is why. Eventually it'll get sapped out. I'll have to think about it. Implies 77.3, 77.4. Oh, it's getting there. Should start kicking off here shortly. 0.7 cycles. Very soon. And I don't need to worry about it. Still gotta automate the pips when we get more power. The urge to manually pick up uranium is strong. I must resist. Eat it. God damn. Of course they did. Of course. Bear, can you can you remove that? Yep. Also, welcome back, Stan. Fire away, bud. Okay, Vitas, don't hug the thing. Technically, it's good evening. In theory. 4 a.m. So. At least for me. That's why, I always preface, hopefully you guys are having a good morning, afternoon, or evening. I have no idea what time zone you're in. But yes, feel free to ask away. They do give seeds. Arbor trees automatically take a absolute pain in the ass long time anyway. Now, you're just kind of always going to be stuck with that. If you do it domestically, you will get more. But then you're going to be taking dirt. And polluted water. So, yeah. Normally you just kind of let the pips plant them normally. Or you do it like this, where you just slowly let them build up over time. And then you're pretty much good to go. Also, never plant them in the sets of 3 with the pips. Like if you set them in sets of 3, the middle one can't do anything. So you always have to do it like this, where it's the old up. Or polluted dirt to feed my poke shells. Ah, yep. If you want polluted dirt, well, remember you can use rot piles. So if you have excess food, you can always just take out the excess food that you don't want, and then use that to make rot piles. There's also a crap load of polluted dirt besides ethanol. Just trying to think. Yeah, it's pretty much just ethanol. Yeah, I know ethanol does that. I'm just trying to think of other things that also do it that you can utilize besides other stuff. Yeah, water sieves are always nice. They're a nice source of polluted dirt in general. Obviously the pips with ethanol and arbor trees is always important. That's like the primary source and largest overall amount of it that you can get. I don't think there's really that many other sources of it. I mean, if you cook off polluted water, you get regular dirt. If you're using outhouses, you get dirt, or polluted dirt, consistently. So there's that. Fertilizer synthesizer does not produce that. Algae distiller also does not. Sludge press is just mud into water and dirt. Yeah, you're pretty much just stuck with ethanol and outhouses. That's really about it. Ah, I gotcha. Bam. Pretty much you're just gonna end up doing it like this. You can domesticate one arbor acorn tree if you want, and then use that one for other stuff. But you definitely will just end up doing it like this. Like, either save a natural tile line, and try to get it as close to 96 tiles as possible. And then just alternate them by using ladders. And like how I did here. Well, pretty much how I do it everywhere, as you can see. And remember, when working with pips, always start top right corner of wherever you're going to be putting in your farms, and then go down. So go top right to left, and then once that's done, then go to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Not really. I normally try to keep a wild pip ranch, like most of the time, because then I don't have to care about them. If you have enough ranchers, then you can tame then you can just tame the pips and not have to care. Also, again, somehow this room is bugged. So this is technically supposed to be impossible, but for some reason one of the pips apparently broke a door. So I'm assuming right now what's happening is the reason these guys are not getting cramped is this room is actually connecting to either this room or this room, or somehow it just calculating in the background. So somehow this room is now literally impossible for them to get cramped. So this is a bug. I have no idea how to do it. It just kind of happened. And you'll notice achievements are still enabled. I've never touched any debugs or anything, and also they haven't broken anything else, so yeah. It's not exactly a good one, for the most part, but I don't really know how it happened. I'm still confused how this happened. I've reported it, but I got nothing. I assume what's happening is when it must have happened when I switched between planetoids, and because the map gets compressed when you switch because it has to get cached, and so that way actions can be minimized for game performance. I'm assuming one of these doors is technically not really there right now. Alpaca will almost never get cramped anyway. Like their main chamber will get cramped, but their actual breeding chamber won't. And if you set them up right. There's so many different ways to do Paku, but the main one is literally just like have a one tile little cube to put a bunch of Paku in, and then just forget about them. And that normally works the best. I have yet to get Paku from the printing pod, by the way. And I'm just kind of like, I need Paku. I would like to have them for my fish fillets, but nope. We have found nothing. Oh, the bees are back. Oh god. I think that was like 80 bees died or something. What in the world? How much nuclear waste was that? 24 kilograms. Is that really how much is there? Yes, 24 kilograms of nuclear waste. That's a lot of them. A volcano with 2 refrigerators. Gold is the easiest gold. Yes, gold is the easiest to coal, period. Gold barely releases any energy whatsoever, which is really nice, to be honest. Copper is the pain in the ass one. Like, if you ever get a copper volcano, that's just oof. Be prepared for pain. CO2. Oh, it's getting there. Slowly but surely, we're getting rid of it. No, this is... I have no marsh islands yet. This is a radioactive ocean. I have a frozen forest, a barren oil, and a flipped asteroid at the moment. And no, this was a... It's the radioactive ocean, so you get a subsurface ocean, radioactive biome, and a arbor tree forest. Nope. I have no idea where it is. Yep, no Terra planet. Not in this cluster. I'm just waiting for this nuclear waste to warm up. Start activating it. Yes, you have. 95-degree water. Oh, thank goodness. Finally. Start pumping. I don't care if it hyper compresses. I want 95-degree water in here. Immediately. The faster I get this to 100, the faster this launches. You have to cool it down. If you remember earlier, I showed you how to do that. You need me to rebuild it again. I'll end up actually building one. You have to build a technically lava blade remover, so to speak. And use that as a cascading cooling effect to get rid of lava. Pretty much everything needs to be built out of obsidian, and everything else needs to be built out of steel. .8. We are definitely taking all of that out. Yes, I'll probably also just do it the old-fashioned way over here. And blast my way in here and remove all of this. So eventually I'm going to just fill this thing all the way on up to probably about here with water. And then once that's done, then we'll just slowly make our way in and dig our way through. And sap the energy off the side from here. Obviously, I need to clean all of this out. Well, I need to prep this area. Insulate this side. Insulate pretty much all the way on up. And then set up a couple steam turbines up the side. And then we're going to just blast our way through here. And let all the water handle all of it. And obviously eject the dupes very quickly in suits. Because, yeah. This team's going to be like, 1,600, 1,800. And not good. It's going to be it'll be in the not good territory. But that's the plan to clean out the bottom. Just fill up the water tank, seal it in, properly insulate it, and then just blast our way in. And that should be able to start clearing out all of that. Over here in Flapallen, I'll have to actually build a lava blade cleaner. That's the plan right here. That'll easily clear most of this out. And I can just connect this up with diamond temperature shift plates as we go. And then just turn the rest of that to steam. Vent the steam out through steam turbines. Use it to cool itself, as well as most of the other material. And then eventually dig it all out. That's the plan anyway. That is going to take a while. Also, I do need to technically remove this beta hive. I don't really want to remove it. Just kind of want to scoot it. But you can't really do that. Temps are at 82.8. Yeah, up the regular temperature in this room, which is really good. I'm literally pumping 95-degree water into this area. Just go more. Add more energy. Also, CO2 gone yet? 359 grams. Come on. Get deleted already. I need to warm this stuff up. Glossy Dracos. This is normally the one that I use. No, this one is a little bit more compacted because of the Rex satellite that's over here, which I did end up actually completely insulating in with water just to reduce the radiation output. That way it doesn't just absolutely ruin everything. Eventually I will just pour this water directly into this. But for now, yeah, I'm using the water as a shielding process. But if you need an actual design for this, these are 91. You can remove the upper tile and this will put it at 96. Just remove 5 tiles. I'm pretty much like right there. I'll put you at 96. You don't have to worry about it. There's multiple ways to do these. Normally they're just little chamber boxes. The other thing you gotta pay attention to is if you're doing regular Dracos, where is it? Yeah. If you're doing regular Dracos, you can end up doing not you. Bomb lilies. Bomb lilies require no maintenance whatsoever and don't actually like require any effort whatsoever from your dupes. But again, you can only feed that to your regular Dracos. And you also need a line of chlorine. So if you notice in here, I have a line of CO2, hydrogen, oxygen. You will need suits to reduce any CO2 emissions from the duplicants while they're in here. Masks don't cut it because they still off-gas CO2, and that's what you're seeing here. But if you're dealing with mealwood, mealwood can survive in oxygen and CO2, so it doesn't matter. And these guys' temperature is slightly less. So they've got 25 to 60 comfort range, whereas these guys have 35 to 90. So, these guys live on mealwood. These ones pretty much will always live on bomb lilies. To get the glossy Dracos, though, you need to be feeding Dracos mealwood. So, if you want a quick boost of glossy Dracos, focus down the mealwood. If you already have bomb lilies and you have chlorine, then you can set up Draco farms that are, well, extremely low maintenance and just require that you make a small injection of CO or chlorine in here and that your dupes are not leaking CO2. So they will need to be in suits, but other than that, yeah. Bomb lilies are fantastic for these guys, and then these guys also continuously produce phosphorite. And again, you can use phosphorite for a couple things. Medical packs if you're playing higher actual difficulties. These guys are on an infinite rotation, so it's not really that big of a deal. The main thing is the Wheezewort. And the main reason that I like setting up Draco farms, the standard Draco farms, not glossy, but the standard Draco farms pretty much on every single planet, is because the amount of radiation that you will need to use your interplanetary launchers is roughly powered by your Dracos. If I access polluted water from the infinite loop bathroom to I won't. Yes, if you're in the rocket. Yeah, if you have a reed fiber, do that already. If not, you'll end up doing something like this, where all of my excess water is just sent into my bathroom tank. Yeah, if you're doing, if you have one reed fiber already, personal recommendation, shove it in here. The main reason being is that you can easily take a standard bathroom instead of a wall toilet, and then plug that into a reed fiber. So say I wanted hydroponics farm. I could stick one right here. Probably just branch over and well, I would redo this piping network, obviously. But for seeing the piping network is also for a cooling loop. But if I had reed fiber, I would just stick a nice little hydroponics farm right here. I'd put the output of a standard lavatory, maybe a sink, probably not a sink. You just use hand sanitizer, it's one tall, save space. You would use a regular toilet, link that on up through there, and then you would have an infinite reed fiber source because all your duplicates there and your rockets will be pooping constantly anyway, and the excess polluted water that will be produced will be enough to run the actual reed fiber as well as keep the suits repaired constantly. You don't need to worry about your suits anymore. That is if you have a reed fiber. I do not yet. We have mailed a part 1. As far as I know. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure we haven't mailed a part 1. And we've reed fibered the plant. Lily. Yeah, we haven't seen it yet. As duly noted. Don't have it yet. But yes, that is the normal strategy with rockets. And I wholeheartedly recommend it if you have one. Just because reed fiber is extremely important and making it so it grows inside your rocket dramatically helps. Natural tile from a Mechador with well, yeah, because I'm converting it over to enriched uranium. We're at 10.7 tons of enriched uranium already. And again, to be honest, I shouldn't have any uranium ore in my stockpiles, but I've had to dig up some of it. But yes, the natural tile from Mechador, yes, you need to use copper, and you create a little U shape. So it looks like... I'll have to use aluminum here. But, up. Looks like that. You then deconstruct the door, and it will form a natural tile right here in the center. And that's how you build these. Yes, but it cannot... the aluminum will not form a natural tile. I don't know if gold amalgam works. I know iron does. But it's a waste of iron, in truth. And not to mention you want the material to be soft anyway, so it's pretty much gold amalgam and copper. That's really about all I would use. Because you need aluminum for everything else, and aluminum is kind of a pain in the ass to obtain. Because you're going to be doing a lot of spaceships, like space trips, just to get it. Yeah, aluminum's like your best item, like high thermal transfer material. So wasting it for natural tiles is not the best of decisions. The reason you use copper is because copper is extremely cheap, and you get tons and tons of it, pretty much on all planetoids. It's also really soft. You got an aluminum volcano? Well, that's nice. Well, again, you can't do it from refined metal. It has to be a manual airlock. The mechanized airlock, at last I checked, did not work. It was only mechanical. Which is weird because, you know, this is 400. But yeah. For some reason, only the mechanical, or sorry, the mechanical manual airlock is the only one that actually ever worked. Even though it's based on mass. The mechanized, I've never gotten the mechanized to work in that factor, unless it's more of a recent change. With like one of the last hotfixes. But I've always used mechanicals for them. It is still weird to me that this can form a natural tile. Like, it still doesn't make that much sense. I mean, to be honest, we should be able to make natural tiles. Period. Like, it's just taking material and putting crap on top of it. Yes, radiant pipes always need refined. Yes. That's why I literally had that selected too. But yes, radiant pipes are the biggest thing that you need it for. Period. If you're going to do a petroleum boiler, you're going to need what? 9,000? Yeah, about 9,000 aluminum ore. Or sorry, aluminum refined. Roughly. It's quite expensive. Okay, let's see what we got. Rocketry with super digging. Mouth breather, though. That is a no-go. Farming plus 7. Night owl squeamish. Yeah. If that was HMG, I would probably take them. Only plus 7, though. If they were 9, I would take them. Rocketry and ranching with aesthetic design, but undigging. I don't think so. Slightly tempting, but aesthetic design is kind of meh. I don't really see a point. I don't think so. But the main thing that you should be using your gold for is metal tiles. Seeing you've got a gold volcano, use the refined gold to make metal tiles. Your dupes get a 50% run speed on them, and the decor is 15, with a radius of 3. It is extremely powerful. Only issue, obviously, is the radiation protection is really, it's piss poor with the gold. But the decor value and the speed is ridiculous. If I could right now, I'd probably be replacing everything with plastic if I had enough of it. Because plastic also gets the 50% boost. It's just not as good. The radius 1 tile, and it's plus 5. One of these, if I remember right, gold puts this up to 25 at 3, which is insane. My last base, I had what, 2 gold volcanoes going, and I turned the entire place with even with a heavy one, heavy conductive one all the way straight through, and the whole place was just green. Like, the decor value was just pure green. Yeah, any of the metal tiles. I wouldn't waste lead for that, though. I would use lead. I would keep the lead around for the suits and wiring. But yeah, if you've got gold volcanoes, just make gold metal tiles. Just put them everywhere. They work the best. They get the highest decor value per tile besides diamond glass tiles. I know. It's too powerful again. Too cold. Alright. Cobalt is a good building replacement for iron. So if you're building anything in your base, like right now most of my base is aluminum and copper. If I can get a cobalt volcano early, I can start replacing everything with cobalt. And then all my cabling can be done with gold, and my tiles can be done with gold. And then that'll normalize your decor while also making it so that way nothing will melt. Because cobalt is only slightly weaker than iron, and iron, all your iron on your base should be used for steel. If I come on over here, melting point 14949.9, and where's iron 1534.9. Yeah, cobalt's only slightly weaker in temperature range. Yeah, it doesn't have an overheat buff. But the thing is that the thing that you're worrying about with cobalt is melting. Because again, you should be converting all your iron to steel. That way, instead of the 50 temperature bonus, you're getting a 275 temperature bonus. Kind of the point of why the way that the game now goes is once you get a cobalt volcano, anything that's non-essential or heat related gets converted to cobalt. Anything that's temperature requirements, it goes to steel, and then to niobium, and then to thermium. I don't normally use fire poles now. On average, normally we are probably already into the point where we're using plastic, but sadly on this one, our only plastic source is this, until I can get enough steam to go to butalin. But I always use the pipes instead. The good old transit tubes. Yeah, I always convert my ladders up. But yeah, normally we use transit tubes, but I don't have enough plastic right now to warrant doing the research for it. But yeah, I almost never use fire poles. I know it's not yet plastic, because... Here. Here's how much plastic I have. And we're out. There you go. That's how much plastic we have. Like, no shit. Oh, that's it. That's all we've got. It's like, why isn't everything plastic yet? Pop. There you go. We're out. The main place that we're using our plastic anyway is for radiation shielding up here anyway. Because 68% shielding is pretty damn nice. And also gets the dupes running a lot faster when going out to rockets. Primary priority right now is getting them up here and ready for rocketry. As well as to shield from the 375 rads. Yep. Pretty much it's all radiation shielding at this point because it's a lot more important. Because again, radioactive ocean. It's a lot. This is 175 over average. Because the average is 200 in most playthroughs. So yeah, radioactive ocean planetoid is pretty nasty. I'm taking it from 375 and cutting it down to 120. And with basic materials, we can kind of kick it down to about 8. Where it's, you know, workable. Then also these guys. Yeah, shut those. This isn't a great amount of shielding, but it is enough. And then this cut down these little brackets that I've been putting in. Kicks it down to about 60. Yeah, solar panels are fantastic. I think right now we're pumping, yeah, we're getting about like what? Like 2.2 kilowatts in energy worth. It's fluctuating like crazy right now. The highest peak I saw was 2.2. Yeah, they work wonders. And technically the most efficient solar panel setup is literally just one giant pyramid. This is my starting main planet. Right in the center. Starting main planet. Oh, well. Balin, we've cleaned out most of it. There's just 2 dupes here right now. That's about it. Over here in Butalin, I've gotten stuff set up with rovers. This is going to be once the steam rocket's ready, we can actually come here. Rudabo, I just started exploring it. That's been about it. I like aspects of the DLC. For sure. Like, betas are nice. Nuclear power is nice. Uranium's nice. Sulfur, sweetles, etc., all nice. But there are some really annoying bugs. I kind of like the older rockets, to be honest, but I do like the fact that we can now finally build our own rockets. And then also, if we really want to, build our own space stations. But again, that's like in-game. Oh, when we talk about the DLC specifically, I normally always... I will always state that it's everything combined, because it is a DLC. And obviously, if they release yet another DLC, which is probably the plan, then you have to include everything that's in that DLC, plus this DLC. Because again, they'll just build upon what they already have. If they don't build upon what they already have, I would be very concerned. Also, gotta be very careful about hyper compression here. Leave it there. I don't need to pump any more in. We're at 90 already. Just let the rest of that filter through. Oh, there it goes. Igneous. It's rare for me to have to use a ceramic. Ceramic is when you're wanting to do, say, like a petroleum boiler, or you're wanting, well, stupid technologies. Like if you're going to end up building a sour gas boiler, and you want to make a bunch of methane, that's when you use ceramic. I rarely ever use ceramic other than for, you know, crazy temperature changes, either hot or cold, etc. Same with insulation. Insulation is normally used extremely sparingly. Not really. Havoc Rock used to be a lot better, but then obviously when they started doing stuff with the nuclear, it kind of lost most of its usefulness. I mean, it really doesn't have anything good going for it, other than it's stupid soft. It's literally hardness of 2. Yeah, I changed the radiation factor on it, and then the specific heat capacity was lowered. This was, I believe, 0.280. Now it's down to 0.20. And then this went from I think it was 69 down to 65. And then also when you build stuff out of it, Amphic Rot's actual radiation protection is 52. insulation for it. And it's, I think from our it's literally just the same as listed. Which is not great. Have any Mavic laying around. Here, I'll make a tile. One sec. Yeah, thermal conductivity 0.01. 0.034. Any igneous left? I think I have that much igneous rock left. .20. That's slightly better. Because I have a lot of it. Also has an actually okay specific heat capacity. Just think about it. Even though this is 0.01, so this is the amount of thermal energy that will be imparted into it per second. It only handles 0.2. Then it's at 0.034, handles 0.79. Almost triple. It's almost triple the capacity before it goes up one temperature in comparison to this. Yeah, and then the radiation blocking itself is only 52%. Which, granted, is actually better, weirdly enough, at 56%. Yeah, Mavic is okay at an insulator, but its thermal capacity really does hamper it. Because when it used to be 0.28. And when it was that, it was nice. Can the sea be regolith? Yes, yes it can. Yeah, water sieves can handle regolith. It's actually one of the few things that made it so that way in base game. The meteorite recovery that you could do for, like, you know, you build a giant steel shield around your entire planet, and then you would reclaim the regolith, and that would mean that you had infinite sand. Meaning that all your water sieves, all of your fluid oxygen protections. Fine right now. I think about it. Where did I put? That one. All the deodorizers. Deodorizers can also use regolith. I used to use I used to cool down the regolith beforehand, throw it into all my deodorizers, sieves, and anything that used sand. It works really, really well. Come on, temperature. 98. We're 11.7 away. And we'll have steam. And I can start immediately injecting all of this nice 95-degree water directly into this box. I'll be happy when it's ready. Yeah, base meteorite rain is pretty nice. There is a planet in the current DLC, once we get to it, that will also end up getting standardized meteorite rain, which is a infinite source of regolith. Yeah, both of those work. Sedimentary, to be honest, though, is the weakest of all of them, but normally I also use sedimentary pipes. Normal pipes, actually. Just because of how normal pipes work. So, normally I would take sedimentary regular pipes and shove them in space. Right now I don't really have that much, so I just didn't do it. I just use granite for everything. Now, you can totally use granite. To be honest, you can use every single material in the game if you want for insulated pipes. It's not actually that bad. Just remember that in space, in a vacuum, it gets a little bit funky. You'll notice that my water temperatures are kind of wildly all over the place, and that's because they're actually in insulated pipes in space. So these things are actually going to be transferring their temperature to the pipe in a really weird... It's a really weird interaction, because there's no atmosphere. The game just sends the temperature that's in the water into the pipe, no matter what the pipe's actual value is. It's weird. Whereas if you end up doing a normal pipe, that doesn't actually happen because the insulated pipe doesn't... Like, the insulated pipe gets a special calculation, whereas regular pipes don't. So, yeah. There's some weird stuff. Yeah. Insulated tiles literally don't care. The only thing you gotta pay attention to, obviously, is overpressure, which is something I'm worried about, and melting. So the only thing that needs to worry about is this number here. If you know that your box is going to get hotter than this number, you do not make it out of that material. If you know it's not, then you don't care. Literally. There's no fucks given whatsoever. To be completely honest. It's like, all that matters is this number. That melting point, that's the only thing that you should care about. See? Obsidian, 27, 26.9. If you're doing something rocket related, obsidian. If you're doing anything else, it could be any material, it doesn't matter. If you need it, if you're doing something that is technically space tech, which would be, as duly noted, you're working with lava, you're working with liquid niobium, you're working with liquid steel, it's gonna be obsidian. Period. If you're working with standard materials, like anything from like 1,000 down, you're looking at igneous rock, granite at 669, sedimentary I believe at 806, I think. Yeah. The only thing you need to care about is if you are doing something that requires exact temperatures, or you are working with liquid hydrogen or liquid oxygen. Liquid oxygen, not as much. Liquid hydrogen has to be perfect, as well as sour gas. So, yeah, those are literally the only two things that would require having insulated insulation pipes. As well as insulation insulated tiles. But that's really about it. Everything else doesn't really matter. Come on, you! More power! My temperature's looking like 47 to negative 64.4. I have this up for a negative 80, by the way. Now, I am sucking all the energy out of the base for the most part and putting it into that little box. Temp-wise, we're still averaging like about 3 degrees. Yeah, exactly. And that's the reason I said that sour gas boilers require minute changes, meaning that you do use insulation for your insulated pipes and tiles, so that way there is no change in temperature. And then also liquid hydrogen it only has what, valence of 4 degrees, I think it is, before it explodes. Seven. Or technically 9. Yeah, it's technically a 9. So it's... Remember, oxygen not included does a +2 -2, when you actually state change. So if you're going from a gas hydrogen and you've chilled it to negative 252.2, it actually needs to reach 254.2 before it turns into a liquid. And then to turn back to a gas, it needs to hit negative 250.2. And that's when it will turn back into a gas. And if you turn into a solid, then that would be negative 261.2. And if you go from a solid back to a liquid, it would require that you end up heating it up to negative 257.2. So yeah, you get a valence of about 9 degrees. Roughly. But obviously, if you're working with that kind of technology, you flat out need to be running insulation. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is also for anyone else who ends up watching the VOD or ends up watching the episode on YouTube at a later point. Yeah. Oxygen not included uses, as I said, -2, +2, and that's the range that you get. If the temperature happens to hit within that range from, say, a gas state, such as hydrogen, then it's got to go up 2 extra degrees. Well, actually, it needs to go down 2 extra degrees for hydrogen state. And then it will turn into a liquid, and it will immediately condense. And yeah. Yeah, bridges don't change temperature either, as long as the fluid is in the bridge, based on the game's calculation, and not in the pipes that connect the bridges. So if it's connecting the bridges, you can have a problem. Say, like, oh yeah, I could just use igneous rock or something. Like, is it in a vacuum? And also, if it's in a vacuum, is it in an insulated tile? Or sorry, insulated pipe. Because if it's in an insulated pipe in a vacuum, then the pipe will end up actually heating up the gas/liquid. If it's a regular pipe and it's in space, or well, if it's in a vacuum, then it won't do that. And the reason being is that, as duly noted, the insulated pipe transfers temperature if in a vacuum. A non-insulated pipe does not, which is weird, but it's just a really funky quirk of the fact that a insulated pipe has 2 calculations because of this little term here. It's weird, but yeah. When it's insulated and it goes through a vacuum, there is no temperature transfer because it's in a vacuum, which means that there's nothing touching it. Which means that now the insulated part kicks into play, and all the liquids or gases that are moving through your insulated pipes or ducts is going to transfer with the pipe instead of with its surrounding environment to maintain being insulated. That's why they're really, really funky. Like, I use them mostly to protect myself for when I actually blast off, because I prefer not to melt my stuff. But, yeah. Insulated pipes and vacuums are weird. Are super, super weird, and oxygen not included. Like, I have no other way to describe it other than it's just really, really, really weird. I mean, it's just a quirk of the game. It's totally exploitable if you know about it, because it means that you don't need to actually put insulated pipes in space unless you're near a rocket that can melt them. Yeah, never let your dupes out never let your dupes out without suits if you're landing a rocket. I feel like that's like a no-brainer, especially nowadays, because now we can actually put down the station still, or did they put it in the rocketry? Did I just not have it? No, it's probably... Nope, there it is, Space Scanner Automation. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I have thought about using one of these to just put a door here and then lock the door. So that way no one can come, like, go in or leave until the rocket has landed using a space sensor. Yes, jet suits lag the game like crazy. I do not use them ever. They are a plague. It's a sad fact, but the jet suit is something I do not trust. I have crashed my game multiple times with it before, and I will never use it ever again. Because jet suit does the same thing as what these betas are doing. Right now, this beta is currently trying to figure out where it wants to sit. So all of these routes are its pathfinding. The jet suit, when activated, covers all of space. So say you wanted to use a jet suit, and your dupes are leaving here in jet suits. That means that it will pathfind this whole way, and then immediately go from all the way over here, all the way up to the top. All of that area will now be calculated. And then your dupe, every second, has to recalculate its current path over all of that distance. Lead hazard has saved my dupe's asses, so yes. Especially if you start working with nuclear or anything. Like say I want to build a nuclear reactor. I am not putting this down, or even automating it, until I have lead suit. Because it gives off 15,000 rats. Lead suits give you a 66% resistance. If you combine that with, say, Kyo over here, who is my current glow stick, I'm also going to pause this, it's going to lag like crazy. Radiation resistance. Glow stick, plus 33%. A glow stick dupe in a lead suit has a 99% radiation resistance. I repeat that. They have a 99% radiation resistance. If you give them a rad pill, they are completely immune to radiation buildup. Their rad absorb dosage will be 0. Mind you, they themselves are radioactive, which is hilarious because they're a glow stick, but it doesn't affect them when they're in the suit. Because the suit itself will completely protect them. Which is, again, weird because they themselves are the ones that are leaking radiation everywhere. So, yeah. Again, weird quirk of the game. And by the way, it does not actually protect them from radiating everything around them, even though they're in a lead suit. Which is hilarious. But yes, that is a thing. Might actually end up calling it early tonight. They have an automatic 33% resistance from themselves. So at most I will see about... Normally I see about like 40. That's it. Remember, a base dupe on normal difficulty, which is what we're playing at, they have to hit 100 before they get minor radiation sickness. But, yeah, they don't actually hit the threshold required. Not to mention, if they also end up in water or they're in heavy-duty atmosphere, they actually get reduced. Because even though they themselves are radiating themselves, if they're in a heavy atmosphere, the radiation is reduced by the actual gas that they're in. Diver's lungs. Not bad. That could be better. Don't really need another digger. I think we'll just grab the bookshelf. I can't put them in here yet, because there is currently a bunch of really nasty ones in there. Yes, Radiation Eater, though, is meh, to be honest. I forget which dupe has it right now. We have one. Well. There they are. So yeah. They automatically remove 150 rads, which is nice. That is nice. That I do. Yes, Radiation Eater is a weird one because it's nice, but it doesn't get any resistances. So the total rad absorption is minus 0.3 per rad. Obviously, because they minus 150 rads per cycle. But, yeah. And yes, I do. My dupes deserve salt. Look at it. Beautiful. Good job, Proto. Deliver the table salt. I approve. But yes, the radiation eaters aren't really that useful. Plastic and massive walls of insulation. Notice that, again, the only tile you need to worry about when it comes to radiation is the one where their legs are. Their heads don't get affected. So the only thing that matters is maintaining less than 100 per cycle on any of these tiles. Or having machinery, like over here. I keep it over here instead of over here because this is 170. Yeah. 194, 224, 147, 129, yeah. No dupes stay here for long. Over here it's fine. It's, you know, 60, 87 at worst. Right there's 61. Yeah, that's all fine. As long as it's not 100, you're good. Also remember, it's per cycle. It's not like if the dupe comes into contact with radiation, it's going to be immediate problems. And obviously, space-wise, I have been working on building up smaller things. Oh, I just let the dupe suffer. They could tank it. No problem. I mean, they're only in there for maybe, like, 20 seconds. And literally, when I built this, my dupes were in here for 20 seconds, and I just micromanaged them. Whenever they hit around, like, 140 rads, I kicked them out. And I immediately slammed the door in their face and was just like, you're not going back in there. Until you, you know, hiss it out of you. And no, they get a little bit of the glowy eye stuff going on, but it's not that bad. It was all minor. As I said, you just micromanage it and you're fine. Limit exposure below 140. If it goes higher than that, immediately kick them out, slam the door in their face, and don't let anyone else back in that room. Use doors very effectively, and just keep it so that way you can always designate who can and cannot enter the room. Once you do that, you're pretty much good to go. So that reminds me, I need to set Frey to be able to go out there and fix that. Yes. Well, okay. It is the second deadliest. And the main reason being is that the nuclear reactor is powerful in the amount of rads it puts out, but it doesn't come anywhere near to the power of this stupid thing, which is also one of the best things in the game. But yes, the Radbolt engine. It outputs 12,000 rads in a perfect circle with no decay ratio because it's in space. So it has a massive circle around it that is emitting radiation at 12,000. The thing is when you build rocket silos and you put your rockets next to each other and give them no space like you're supposed to, the area between them is about a 3 wide area. This is the deadliest zone in the entire game besides hyper-compressed nuclear waste. And the reason being is if 2 of these are going off together, this will hit about 27,000 rads. The nuclear reactor, even if you put multiples near each other, don't actually, for some reason, exceed 15,000. I don't know why. But the nuclear reactor, the actual nuclear Radbolt engines, they don't care about some artificial enforced limit. They just go, I'm gonna pump all my radiation into space. So yes, never let your dupe stand anywhere near a nuclear rocket when it's about to go off. Because, yeah, very dangerous. No. Nuclear chambers do not need to be cooled. To be honest, you want to keep them hot. And the main reason being is that nuclear fallout happens at around 526.9, and nuclear waste turns to solid at 26.9. You don't want to turn to solid. Oh, you mean the actual nuclear reactor itself, the research reactor. If that's what you're asking. The research reactor, it needs to be on an elevated platform, number one. So, I'll just pause real quick. On average, you're going to build it like this. Everything's going to be made out of steel. You will want a nuclear waste pump right there. The output is, if I remember correctly, this tile. Now the nuclear storage. Which nuclear storage? I mean the Radbolt storage? Are you talking about the Radbolt chamber specifically, or what? There's no nuclear storage, if that's what you're asking. Oh, you mean the Radbolt storage. Okay. Radbolt storage is just a large cube. It requires power. And then you need to set up a automation wire that is the chute and then seal. And that's about it. You just shoot Radbolt into it. And it does, but I mean it needs to be cooled like a normal building. It doesn't overheat, like, yeah. It doesn't really generate that much heat, as you can see. Like a battery is twice as worse as this. But yeah. If I wanted to, I could probably just slap one down like right here. Not really that big of a deal. Yeah, it's just 2 batteries. It's 2 smart batteries worth of power or amount of heat. Just a little bit more than that. It's not much. Make them collide with nuclear waste. Or make them collide with each other. So if these Radbolts end up colliding with each other, they will cause a massive burst of around, what, 4,000 rads in an instant? But if they end up colliding, and then they will fall straight down into nuclear waste, depending on how many Radbolts actually collided. And then if it collides with a airflow tile that has nuclear waste next to it, it will immediately turn into nuclear waste. It needs to collide with an airflow tile that is touching nuclear waste. Because the game, what it does is that it calculates that there's nuclear waste here, and the Radbolt technically collided with it. So watch this. See how it forms nuclear waste here? And then the game goes, ah yes, I need to form nuclear waste. So then it forms it like this. This means I don't need to time it all the time and babysit this thing like crazy. I've had to do that multiple times before, but yes, ever since I added this mechanic, it makes it so much easier. Yeah, you'll slowly just get a buildup of nuclear waste. Eventually, if you didn't actually have a wrecked satellite directly underneath this, you would just put a liquid pump. You'd probably use Weezewarts, and you would just run it like an actual particle accelerator and just have them collide with each other. Yes, I have naphtha, which is this extremely purple, like royal purple naphtha right there. I also have it over here too. Being we don't have oil, I just end up making some naphtha by taking a utility, temperature ship plate, making it out of plastic. I have any. I probably do not have enough plastic. Oh, I do have enough plastic. Take the plastic, shove it right here. Lava's there, melts it instantly. Make sure that they're getting equal radiation. So that is 1,189, and that is 1,190. What you do is you come in here when the game is paused. You set this to 500. You then ignore it. You come back in about maybe, I would say, like a minute and a half. If it hits over 50, you then just set it to whatever the number is, and then they'll both fire once you unpause the game. But yes, it's the easiest way to babysit this thing, at least to get it started. Like you can get, I got this set up in like what cycle 80. It's like 82 or something is when we started building it. So you can get this set up really early because it's just igneous rock, a little bit, quite a bit of power, and basic other materials. And then this will actually start getting you some nuclear waste to start working with. Then eventually the nuclear waste, because the blob is here, it will start affecting about yay big. Eventually, once it starts actually getting to be large, like humongous amounts of kilograms with a lot of radiation, I will just flip these red bolts over, and then I don't have to worry about it. Yes, exactly. I just use this to pick up the excess nuclear waste. If it starts duplicating, it starts duplicating. I don't really try to force it. I originally had a lot of actual liquid nuclear waste, and I just move it. And it's like, again, if it starts duplicating, I don't care. I'll just let it do its thing. I could technically force it, but eh. I'd rather just have nuclear waste. Just, if it happens, it happens. It almost always happens anyway, so it's like, okay, whatever. Clyde will never fix it, so... I feel like it's something that they want to keep in the game, just to harass people with it. I mean, if you don't know that nuclear waste self-duplicates, your basic could have problems. 28.9, I believe. Yeah. Its melting point is at 26.9, but its actual melting point is 28.9. So you gotta heat it up. I've almost cleared out all the CO2. I'm venting it to space. Yep. $94.6. So slow. Yep. You can see why I'm trying to heat it up right now. I have a giant blob of dead bees. I would say probably 80% of that is the bees. All 916 kilograms of nuclear waste. All bees. Or bee related. And there's a lot. Thankfully, the bees have been pretty good about cleaning up their uranium. Patches in. I think I'm going to end up calling it here in just a little bit. Exhaustion's kicking in. If we didn't have that power outage yesterday, I would have been doing pretty good tonight. But yeah, nothing I can do to stop that one from happening. Apparently there's going to be another storm coming through here in the next couple days. I'll probably do the same thing again. Thanks, Sid. And yeah, hopefully I'll catch you tomorrow. As long as, again, as long as the infrastructure holds here. Oh, we're so close. I was really hoping I'd be able to get it done today. Technically, yesterday I was going to end up doing Oxygen Not Included, but yeah, we lost power at 1. I normally start to stream around 2 on Sundays. And yeah, it didn't come back until 10 a.m. So, yeah. Today was going to be the day that we got the rockets off, but all of my best laid plans were immediately ruined. Crap. Oh well. That just means that tomorrow will be the day that we actually get the steam going. Hopefully. But it is looking like it. It's already at 95 degrees. This will be very, very soon. I don't really want to pump any more thermal mass in there. This is already getting hyper compressed. But we need that to hit 101.7, and then it will immediately burst into steam. And then once that happens, then I can inject more water. But for now, I am going to drop a save, and I am definitely going to call it here. It is now 5:16 in the morning, and I've been going for about 6.5 hours. Yeah, normally I go to 7, but there's really nothing I can do on that one, because I am tired.